Yeah, I think that on the society as a whole, I think that, making it into a holiday has something to do with, us, being more privy to it. But I think that in the religious sect, from my experience from being in church and from what I was taught about it, it was something that was kind of deemed upon. You didn't go out and celebrate Halloween. And that, like I said, I didn't have that as a child, but as an adult when I was in church, that's what I was pretty much taught. You don't go out and celebrate Halloween, and you don't do that because you're going out and worshiping dead spirits and calling amongst the dead, and you're bringing evil spirits around in your presence and such things like that. So I think on the society as a whole, making it as a holiday, I think that kind of took some of the demonization off of it. But within religious sects itself, it still has that demonization upon it.
Yeah, I messed up one year. Well, I wouldn't call it messing up. I thought it was hilarious. But a bunch of my coworkers were, regular churchgoers and kind of held that position. But, they allowed us to dress up at work. I really didn't have too much money to go buy a costume, so I came as a dead priest. that didn't sit over too well.
Nope, I'm sure it didn't.
Yep.
But I think a lot of times we look back in history, towards dead people who really can't speak to us and tell us the truth about history, trying to find out what a holiday means or what it's supposed to mean. And I think really what's most important is the meaning that we give to it today when we celebrate it. I mean, Halloween, it may seem kind of, demonic in some very senses, but, as a holiday itself compared to a lot of other holidays, it makes a lot more sense. It's more about fun than it is about, slaughtering a bunch of Indians and getting some land or this and that or war. So to me, I think it really kind of boils down to what meaning you give it.
And what meaning do you give to it, and how do you participate in it? And I always thought that if you felt it was harmful, don't participate, but do not discourage others from enjoying that, I think that's one of my biggest things with people that are so vehemently against something. How dare you take that joy or that pleasure from somebody else? That's not your right. You don't have that authority.
That's true. We're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we have a caller on the line. Just a moment.
Okay.
You are listening to Speak Free Radio. You can find us at www.blogtalkradio.com/speakfree. You can call in at 858-777-5945. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, and we're back. We have caller phone number 313-414.
3417.
Hello.
Hey, y'all. It's Sean Scott from Facebook.
Hi,
hey,
Sean. How are you?
Hey,
how are y'all? Good to hear your voices.
All right.
Good to hear yours.
Well, thank you very much. I've been listening to y'all. The conversation has been great. I don't personally have a lot of extensive book knowledge on the subject, but if I might, I just would like to share my personal experience with Halloween. In elementary school, Halloween was a blast. It was so much fun. I mean, we had parties and trick-or-treating, and, I mean, it was just something that I looked forward to every year. Then when I became a teenager, I pursued Christianity, started going to a particular church, and was told that Halloween was bad, that it was evil, of the devil. And I had a little trouble reconciling that with my earlier childhood experiences. How could something that had been so much fun to a child suddenly be demonic and I not know it, not have some sense of it. So I never 100% bought into it, but I just kind of followed along. But now at this point, when I look back, I just think it's really unfortunate, sad, pathetic even, that grown-ups would take something like this from children that has so much joy to offer. It just seems cruel. And the reasons that they give, even if what they were saying was absolutely true, the reasons they were giving, we're talking about things that happened centuries ago. We're not talking about, modern times. If it was something so evil, it certainly morphed into something very benign and something very kid-friendly and fun, and that's what should be looked at. But so I just wanted to say that. I just want to say hello to you all.
Hello, and thank you.
You're welcome.
And I love this point. Yeah, I love that point, Sean. How did something that was so much fun to kids all of a sudden have such negativity attached to it, and often that negativity is used to scare people. That's tragic.
It is, and it's interesting to me that it's adults pushing something like this, or taking something like this away from children, something that, doesn't really have any impact on them anymore. It doesn't really mean anything to them anymore, but to the children coming behind them, it's like, you would snatch something like this away. It's just not cool. Just not cool.
Well, for some people, it's not okay for kids to show up in a scary costume demanding candy, but it's okay for, kids to be in church and some other malicious pastors be giving them candy to keep their mouth shut.
Well,
right. So is there a difference? Is there a difference? Look at that. Look at the manipulation in that.
Right. Yeah, well. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one, but yeah. we don't want to go down that road.
That's a whole nother show.
I'm trying to open doors.
Right.
Really, that's all it is kids showing up your door in cute little costumes asking for candy.
Right.
Right.
I think there's anything wrong with that.
I loved dressing up. I would dress up every year as my favorite superhero. That was just like, that was prime time for me. That was something major to look forward to every year.
Yeah, it was fun. You go out and try to pick a costume, or if you couldn't afford one, you go out and make one, and you try to be the best thing that you can. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that. My costume gonna be better than yours, and it was fun. I remember getting chased by dogs and going on people's doors and knocking and running from them. It was fun.
Yeah. And I'll tell you where the evil is on Halloween: bag snatchers.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, and even yeah. I remember. I've forgotten about that, but even that wasn't evil. It was just mean, and we used to went out in the park. If you snatched the bag, we were going to chase you down.
Right.
Wow, I never heard of the bag snatchers.
Where did you live in?
When I got in high school, we used to go around and snatch bags. We'd drive in my mom's van, and there'd probably be 10 of us loaded in there, and jump out on a bunch of kids with candy. Candy and run and take it.
And I thought Detroit was supposed to be rough. Wow.
Candy.
There's a small town living. Yeah. We used to have a ball.
Those were the people that didn't want to do the work of going door to door. They would let me do it and then take my candy.
Right. Right. Kind of smart when you think about it. They probably grew up to be business people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Politicians.
That too.
So,
all right, y'all.
so
I'm going to go get some grub, but I just wanted to support y'all, tell y'all I love what you're doing, and I'm gonna keep listening.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Sean. Good hearing from you.
Good hearing y'all. Take care.
Take care.
You too.
Now, what about like the influence of film and stuff? I mean, we've got horror movies and stuff like that all on TV. And, I know a lot of people say oh, don't watch that. That's demonic. And that's all year round.
Yeah.
What do we think about that? I mean, are there movies that people shouldn't watch?
No, I think people should watch everything and they get as scared as possible.
But see, I think when I was 5, I was
that's more of
a little kid.
Say it again.
I think that's a personal choice.
Yeah, it really is. I was obsessed with horror movies as a little kid, and every year Halloween was my favorite holiday because, for some reason, I like the horror movies, the vampires, the werewolves, and stuff like that. I mean, not for any real scary aspect. I mean, when I was 5, I thought The Exorcist was a comedy. I didn't even connect the whole horror part of it. I just thought it was hilarious. So, to me, I never kind of understood the whole you shouldn't watch that type thing, especially when you're talking about some stuff like, ghost movies or particularly the movie The Exorcist. The Exorcist is a movie that deals around the church. But when it comes to stuff like that, they tell you it's demonic. You shouldn't watch it. To me, that was kind of limiting on awareness.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that could actually happen if you actually believe in demonic possession and you actually believe in this and that, but you're telling people blind yourself from it so that you don't know anything about it, you don't know, what it's like or anything like that, then aren't you kind of, limiting their awareness of it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. I have an uncle who was telling me about his experience of seeing the exorcism. Matter of fact, he was just telling me about it earlier this summer, where his aunt had experienced or had been through, or she was possessed by a demon or what have you. And, he was sitting down telling us the story, and he said he was scared to death. He said it was on a country road, and it was dark. And I said, you wanted to run up out of there. He said, no, I didn't. I said, I wanted to stay up in there. He said, because it was dark, and if I ran out, I was scared something was going to chase me. So,
Wow.
Well, I'm not big into horror movies, but The Exorcism for me was nothing but the church doctrine around being possessed being put before us. And I could see why people that were steeped in that were frightened. I really could, because I didn't watch it when it first came out because everybody said how horrible it was. But when I did see it, I thought it was hilarious. I'm going to be very honest with you. It didn't scare me. It was funny. It was funny to me to see this woman's head turn around and spitting this green stuff, and it was just a joke to me. But that came with a certain growth that I have to say that has taken place that has allowed me to be in a space where I don't subscribe to demonic possession. I just don't.
Well,
yeah.
I think horror movies are healthy. And because I think it kind of makes you realize what's real and what's not. Even at an early age, I still have an overactive imagination, and if I go outside and it's dark and there's woods, I'll get scared to death. But I think that it still makes us exercise, logic, and reasoning, because what we see on TV, as realistic as it may look, we know what we see every day and what's going to happen, what's likely. A monster really going to pop out of somebody, I think it helps build awareness, period. Sorry.
That's a good way of looking at it. I've never heard that. I've never heard it that way, but that's a good way to look at that.
So what about for little children? I mean, for the ones, let's say, Ray that's 6, and his mama lets him watch Chucky. When he's 6 years
I think
old.
if a child, I think that's left up to the parent. Don't you think a parent should make that decision if their child is going to see it and is not going to internalize it? I think that's the biggest thing.